A tempest is stealthily gathering in the shadows, brimming with unwavering resolve, hushed vows of resurgence, and the intensity of a legacy forged with every rep. Amidst the imposing presence of seasoned titans and the glare of soaring expectations, an unexpected figure is emerging, not with flamboyance, but with an aura that commands notice. As the clamor intensifies and the stakes escalate, what unfolds next could reshape the destiny of an entire season. Unpack every detail for you, but first, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you're new. Let's dive in. Aaron Rodgers, Pittsburgh Steelers, graveyard. 3 words you likely never imagined together so soon, but when Myles Garrett speaks, the NFL listens. And when he grins about sending a future Hall of Famer to the graveyard, Browns Nation, you'd better believe that's the spark igniting the powder keg that could become one of the most electrifying sagas of the coming season. We're serving you the latest straight from Berea, where Cleveland's mandatory minicamp has commenced, and the quarterback room? It's a battlefield. Veterans Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett, each carrying chips on their shoulders, are squaring off against not one but 2 rookies, Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. It's Sanders. The 5th-round gem who tumbled unexpectedly in the draft, who's rapidly emerging as one of the most riveting narratives in Browns camp. Let's not sugarcoat it. Sanders barely saw meaningful reps during OTAs. He seemed cemented at the bottom of the pecking order. Yet what seized everyone's attention, coaches, reporters, and teammates alike, wasn't just his throwing arm, it was his demeanor. Speaking to the press after day 1 of minicamp, Sanders didn't sound like a shell-shocked rookie licking his wounds. He sounded like a future captain, a visionary with a plan. "My mission is to be the ultimate teammate and exude as much positivity as possible," he declared. "I see it as, I've got time. Time to develop, to decipher the intricacies of defenses, to glean wisdom from the vets. When my time arrives, I'll be ready." This young man gets it. He's not just showing up, he's all in. Then he dropped a truth bomb that deserves to be emblazoned on every locker door. When you get in a game, nobody cares how many reps you got. Everybody cares about results. Let that resonate. That's the mindset that doesn't just earn respect in the locker room, it earns you an opportunity when it matters most. What's even more compelling is the composed, methodical energy he exudes. He's missed some throws, his dropbacks have been slow, he's aware of that, he's addressing it. What he's not doing is spiraling. He's not chasing the limelight. He's preparing for it. "I'm focusing on the fundamentals," Sanders explained, "and in time, the big moments will manifest." Stack that perspective against this cutthroat quarterback competition, and Sanders' composure feels extraordinary. Not arrogant, but assured. Not naive, but steadily maturing. Now, pivot with me to another major name stirring emotions this week. Nick Chubb. Yes, that Nick Chubb. The man who defined the Browns' backfield for 7 unforgettable seasons. Chubb is now officially a Houston Texan, having passed his physical and inked the deal. While fans still grapple with the heartbreak of his departure, Browns legend Hanford Dixon captured the bittersweet sentiment perfectly. Speaking directly to Chubb on his show, Dixon pleaded, "Please, please, please, big dog, if you face us, go easy on." That's respect. That's reverence. That's love. It says everything about what Chubb meant to this franchise and how devastating it was to part ways with him after that brutal knee injury in 2023. Now, unless fate or the playoffs intervene, a Browns-Texans showdown won't materialize until 2026. But let's be real, the countdown has already begun. Meanwhile, a different saga is taking shape right here in the AFC North. The Steelers executed one of the most audacious moves of the offseason, securing 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers. And who was the first to respond? You guessed it, Myles Garrett. "Great chance to send him to the graveyard," Garrett quipped, flashing that trademark grin. If you're new around here, let me fill you in. Garrett has a ritual. Every Halloween, his front yard transforms into a mock cemetery adorned with headstones, each one bearing the name of a quarterback he's taken down. It's theatrical, it's ruthless, and it's deeply personal. Garrett has already sacked 31 different QBs. He's racked up at least 12 sacks in each of the last 5 seasons. The man boasts 102.5 career sacks before even hitting 30. He's a one-man wrecking crew, and he's already picturing Rodgers in that Halloween display. Why not? Rodgers was tied for the 7th most sacks endured last season, and that Steelers offensive line, still a big question mark. With 2 showdowns between Cleveland and Pittsburgh on the schedule, October 12 and December 28, Garrett will have ample opportunities to make good on his vow. This is more than a rivalry. This is the stuff of legend in the making. A seasoned quarterback chasing one last shot at glory, a defensive powerhouse at the height of his craft, and a young quarterback quietly but resolutely laying his own foundation. So now, Browns faithful, we turn to you. What do you think of Shedeur Sanders' mindset? Is he the future face of this franchise? Drop your thoughts below. While Shedeur Sanders is steadily forging his legacy from the ground up, Myles Garrett is already fortifying his own. And Browns Nation, this isn't just about the sack count. It's about a mindset that's defining this new era in Cleveland, one forged in accountability, purpose, and just the right touch of swagger. That's what Garrett brings to every snap, and you better believe he's laser-focused on Aaron Rodgers. Smash that like button if you've been a Cleveland Browns fan for more than 2 decades. It's inspiring to see fans of all generations. Some of you were even there for the very first game. Mad respect. Drop a comment below like, "Let's go Browns, let's go win that Super Bowl." Rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders has been captivating onlookers. It's not merely his lightning quick release or his increasingly polished mechanics. It's the way he's seizing the spotlight in a room already stacked with seasoned veterans and promising talent. Sports Illustrated couldn't turn a blind eye, highlighting that Shedeur's rapid ascent is undeniable. In just over a month, his presence has transformed the entire dynamic of the Browns' quarterback competition. Head coach Kevin Stefanski, ever the champion of meritocracy, might keep things lighthearted publicly, but those who watch closely know Shedeur Sanders is already carving out his own legacy. Let's be honest, even if you're not completely sold on Sanders as the heir apparent, his potential is impossible to dismiss. Remember, not long ago he was touted as a possible #1 overall pick in the NFL draft. Now, shifting gears, according to insider Jordan Schultz, the Pittsburgh Steelers are aggressively seeking a new offensive guard. This isn't just another idle offseason rumor. There's substantial momentum behind these negotiations. The most prominent name linked? Kyle Pitts, the former top 5 draft pick from the Atlanta Falcons. Although the Falcons aren't openly shopping him, they're reportedly receptive to offers, especially if a day 2 draft pick, 2nd or 3rd rounder, is on the table. On paper, Kyle Pitts boasts undeniable star power. He dazzled at Florida and, in his rookie season, racked up over 1,000 receiving yards, showcasing flashes of his jaw-dropping potential. Yet since then, his spark has dimmed. Concerns linger that he hasn't fully realized his immense promise. He's no longer the unstoppable force with contested catches or the surgical route-running prowess that had scouts drooling before the draft. While his physical gifts remain elite, the stark reality is that, after 4 seasons, his potential feels more theoretical than tangible. The Steelers already feature a dependable tight end core led by Pat Freiermuth, sure hand, consistent, and a reliable possession receiver. So does it really make sense to bring in Pitts, whose skill set overlaps significantly with Freiermuth's? That's where this rumor begins to lose its shine. And let's not forget Pitt's looming contract extension. He's entering the final year of his rookie deal. Any trade would necessitate not only draft capital, but also a hefty new contract. Instead, there's increasing chatter around another name, Jonnu Smith. And this isn't idle gossip. Smith thrived under Arthur Smith in Atlanta, especially in screen-heavy packages, where his yards share catch prowess turned him into a nightmare for defenders. He's not only more explosive with the ball than Pitts, but also had a far more productive 2023 campaign. Plus, he brings a different dimension to the Steelers' offense compared to Freiermuth, offering a complementary skill set rather than redundant talent. Smith would seamlessly fit the Steelers' vision of deploying heavy 12 or 13 personnel, meaning multiple tight ends on the field at once, a core feature of Arthur Smith's offensive scheme. Right now, Freiermuth is solid and Darnell Washington is a fantastic blocker, but the depth behind him is questionable. Connor Hayward and others simply don't inspire enough confidence to fully commit to this tight end-centric identity. However, adding Smith would also raise a significant financial dilemma. Do the Steelers really want to commit top-tier salaries to two tight ends? Freiermuth already commands a salary north of $12 million, 0 cents annually, and Smith, coming off a Pro Bowl season, is likely seeking around $15 million, 0 cents per year. That's nearly $30 million, 0 cents tied up in a single position group. A precarious financial gamble unless both players are featured prominently. Effectively orchestrated formations and strategic deployments would be indispensable. But beyond just tight ends, the Steelers aren't halting their pursuit of dynamic offensive weapons. There's growing speculation about a blazing fast wide receiver they've been monitoring, Trey Palmer from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This 24-year-old speedster, a sixth-round selection out of Nebraska, clocked a legitimate 4.3-second 40-yard dash, cementing his reputation as one of the league's fastest players. Palmer's allure lies in his electrifying speed and his capacity to stretch defenses vertically. Though he's not known for making contested catches and his hands can be inconsistent, his ability to stack defensive backs and torch defenders on deep crossing routes is a tantalizing trait. Surprisingly, he's also an aggressive run blocker, an attribute Arthur Smith highly values, with Tampa Bay drafting 2 new receivers. Palmer's roster spot may be in jeopardy, opening the door for Pittsburgh to potentially secure a bargain. A late-round pick swap might be all it takes to bring him in. Palmer isn't the only name circulating. John Mechie has also been floated as a viable target, a young, cost-controlled receiver with refined route running and reliable hands. Yet, if the Steelers are truly going all in, one development cannot be overlooked: the looming presence of Aaron Rodgers. There's mounting anticipation that Rodgers could sign with the Steelers before the June 10th mandatory minicamp. Should that transpire, veteran receivers like Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen, both of whom have reportedly been hesitant to commit without clarity at quarterback, could suddenly become legitimate targets. Imagine this scenario: Aaron Rodgers under center, firing passes to George Pickens, Amari Cooper, or Keenan Allen, with Jonnu Smith and Pat Freiermuth wreaking havoc in tight end sets, while Trey Palmer blazes downfield, stretching defenses to the brink. That's an offense built to win now, an offense designed to chase championships. With Cam Hayward's career entering its twilight, the urgency is palpable. Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin have signaled clearly the time to win is now, yet amid all this potential wheeling and dealing, from trades for Pitts or Smith to eyeing Palmer, Cooper, or Allen, one pivotal question emerges: which move makes the most strategic sense for the Steelers right now? Steelers Nation, sound off below. Should the Steelers go all in on Jonnu Smith, Kyle Pitts, or should they prioritize upgrading the wide receiver core first? Let's dissect this rapidly evolving situation, because the decisions made in the next few weeks could define the Steelers' 2025 season and perhaps the legacy of this front office under Omar Khan. Starting with Jonnu Smith, it's essential to appreciate why he's more than just a convenient option. He's a tactical chess piece, bringing athleticism, versatility, and a proven track record within Arthur Smith's system. If the Steelers truly intend to lean heavily on 12 and 13 personnel packages, they can't simply rely on Freiermuth and Darnell Washington. Jonnu's presence would allow Pittsburgh to diversify its tight end usage. He's not just a blocker or a possession target. He can line up in the backfield, shift into the slot, and become a screen threat at any moment. And this isn't just theoretical. Smith was used extensively in these roles by the Falcons in 2023, earning a Pro Bowl selection and proving he's still a dynamic asset. The goal here isn't redundancy, it's versatility. Let's circle back to that grin and that graveyard remark. It wasn't just a Halloween joke, it was a shot across the bow. Rodgers may have a Hall of Fame resume, but Garrett is already eyeing a place in the record books. And let's be clear, this rivalry with Pittsburgh, it just got a whole lot more personal. Garrett knows exactly what Rodgers brings: experience, composure, a cannon for an arm. But he also knows that Steelers' O-line struggled mightily with injuries last year. Rodgers was taken down 40 times behind the Jets' line in 2024. That's no accident. That's a vulnerability. The Browns' defense, led by Garrett, is already one of the league's most feared units. Rodgers joining the AFC North doesn't rattle them, it energizes them. And while we're talking about legacies, let's talk about Nick Chubb. His time in Cleveland might officially be over, but his impact is forever woven into the franchise's DNA. Four-time Pro Bowler, the heartbeat of the offense, a silent warrior who let his performance do the talking. His departure? Heartbreaking. Necessary? Perhaps, but that doesn't make it any easier to accept. Fans want bold predictions. The media demands sizzling headlines. Nobody wants to admit that sometimes the truth is, well, messy. There's a razor-thin line between a future star and a roster casualty, but in Cleveland, one rookie quarterback is already forcing people to pick a side, even if they've barely seen him throw a pass. So now it's your turn, Browns fans. What do you make of Joe Flacco's attitude toward mentoring? Should Dustin Hopkins still be trusted with long-range kicks? Is Myles Garrett's OTA absence just noise or something deeper? Let me know in the comments below. Because here's the truth, these aren't just side plots. They're the pulse of the season. When a franchise seeks to forge a new identity in one of the NFL's toughest divisions, every choice, every personality, every puzzle piece matters. Take Dustin Hopkins, for instance. If he regains even a fraction of his 2023 form, suddenly Kevin Stefanski doesn't have to punt from the 35-yard line. Suddenly that 4th and 5 at the 38 becomes a field goal attempt instead of a momentum killer. It changes how you call a game. It changes your level of aggression. It injects confidence not just in the offense, but in the entire team, knowing you can rely on your kicker from range. That's not theoretical, that's tactical, that's strategic. And in a division where margins are razor thin, it could determine who's playing in January and who's watching from the couch. Then you look at Joe Flacco, and it's easy to appreciate both sides. You respect the fire, the competitiveness, the refusal to just accept a mentor label. But in the same breath, you hope he becomes that seasoned voice who fosters unity and guidance in a quarterback room that's still evolving. Shedeur Sanders is electric but raw. Dylan Gabriel has tools but needs refinement. These aren't just camp arms, they're potential futures. And whether Flacco embraces that responsibility could shape how quickly those futures unfold. And then there's Myles Garrett. He is the Cleveland Browns defense. You don't hand a man $160 million, 0 cents, with $123,500,000, 0 cents guaranteed, unless you believe he's the anchor, the tone setter. So when he skips OTAs, yes, it raises eyebrows, but Garrett's earned his leash. He's delivered every time he's been called on. And with Mason Graham now in the mix, this defensive front is poised to be nasty, disruptive, and relentless. The foundation is there. But it all comes down to how tight-knit this group becomes when the bullets start flying in September. So Browns fans, with all this on the table, Hopkins' redemption, Flacco's leadership, Garrett's autonomy, where do you stand? What excites you most? What concerns you? Let us know in the comments below, because this season promises to be a wild ride. Breaking news. What if I told you the most intriguing storyline emerging from the Browns' OTA sessions isn't about Deshaun Watson's shoulder or Jim Schwartz's defensive strategies? What if I told you the biggest buzz in Browns training camp now centers around a quarterback who isn't even projected to start, yet he's already turning heads? From Sports Illustrated to the diehard fans filling the stands, Browns fans, buckle up, because what's unfolding this offseason could mark the dawn of a brand new era in Cleveland football history. And it all begins with Shedeur Sanders. That's an offense engineered to win now, to chase a championship. With Cam Hayward's illustrious career nearing its twilight, the urgency is palpable. Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin have made it clear the time to win is now. But with all these potential moves, From targeting Pitts or Smith to considering Palmer, Cooper, or Allen, the question remains, which acquisition makes the most sense for the Steelers right now? Steelers Nation, let me know your thoughts. Should Pittsburgh go all in on Jonnu Smith, pursue Kyle Pitts, or prioritize acquiring a dynamic wide receiver? Let's dissect this evolving situation, because the decisions made in the coming weeks could define the Steelers' 2025 season and potentially shape the legacy of this front office under Omar Khan. Starting with Jonnu Smith, it's important to understand why he's more than just a convenient fit. He's a strategic chess piece. Smith brings athleticism, versatility, and a proven track record under Arthur Smith's system. If the Steelers are serious about playing significant snaps in 12 and 13 personnel, they can't rely solely on Freiermuth and Darnell Washington. Jonnu's presence allows Pittsburgh to diversify its tight end usage. He's not just a blocker or a possession target. He can line up in the backfield, motion into the slot, and become a screen threat at any time. And this isn't just theory. In 2023, Jonnu Smith thrived in those roles with the Falcons, even earning a Pro Bowl selection. Proof that he's still a dynamic contributor. The goal here isn't redundancy, but versatility. What really stings is the thought of seeing him across the field sporting a Texans jersey. Maybe not this season, maybe not even next, but someday that day will come. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Go Browns!